Welcome back to the Dragon Den. My loyal Dragonites, King of Dragons 5000 is back with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman from Batman and Robin. So here we have Batman pose and out of the packaging, and does he look really good here. But before we have a look at his details, let's run through his accessories. Batman does come with two ice effects that do attach to his hands. And besides the Mr. Freeze Build-A-Figure parts, he doesn't come with any other accessories. So with that out of the way, let's have a closer look at the Batman and Robin, Batman. And so here we have a closer look at Batman, and McFarlane has done a really good job capturing what we saw on screen and bringing it to action figure form. Batman does have some really good details that McFarlane was able to sculpt into this figure. Starting with the head sculpt, it's a really good head sculpt for Batman. Though the sculpt is really soft and really doesn't look like George Clooney, the cowl shape is definitely the shape that we saw in the movie. The prominent brows do a really good job defining the face, and I really like the way his eyes look here. The ears on the cowl are nice and pointy, and they are rather sharp, so do be careful with these ears in particular. And just like we saw in the movie, the rest of Batman's outfit is going to be done in black plastic. The suit details on the muscles look really good here, and they even sculpted the bat nipples here. In the middle of his chest we do have the Batman and Robin insignia, which does look really good here, but it is done in black, so it really doesn't stand out too well. His arms are rather plain, being that they don't have any paint and there's really hardly any muscle definition in his arms. However, they did sculpt his gloves really nicely, and it is surprising to see that he doesn't have your traditional Batman spikes, but he still has them on his forearms. And the detailing on his gloves matches what we saw with both Robin and Batgirl. His utility belt is nice, as it does carry over that insignia, which looks good. However, it's not really a utility belt, it's basically just a sculpted belt. And the codpiece is nicely sculpted, as it really doesn't look like a diaper here, which is a really good thing. The legs on Batman are done really nicely, and you can see the muscle striations in this suit. His thighs are done in a rather glossy plastic, which is a little bit jarring, especially when you get down to his knees, which are made of a matte plastic. And once you get down to his boots, they are done in a glossy plastic, which is pretty accurate to what we saw in the movie. And just like in the movie, atop his boots we do have some bat insignias. And the boots are done rather nicely, where we do have some nice folds and wrinkles in the material. And finally, taking a look at his cape, I have to say this is probably my favorite cape that McFarlane has ever made on a figure. It's made of this really soft rubber material, and the material is really flexible, and I like the sheen that it has on it. So overall, a pretty faithful representation of what we saw in the movie in terms of sculpt work. With his details out of the way, let's actually get Batman compared to our usual suspects. Here we have Batman posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and DC Multiverse Superman. Mattel's WWE Elite Collection and Mezco's 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. The Lightning Collection White Ranger and the Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally we have Batman posed next to the rest of the McFarlane Batman and Robin wave. So as you can see, Batman will scale nicely to the rest of the McFarlane Batman and Robin wave. As it should be, Batman is standing taller than both Robin, Batgirl, and even Poison Ivy. So with his comparisons out of the way, let's have a look at Batman's articulation. Batman has a double ball joint in the head, ball socketed shoulders, arms go out to the side and do a full 360. He has a bicep swivel and double hinged elbows. Ball hinges in his wrists. Batman does have a ball joint in his upper torso and a ball joint in his lower torso. Legs do kick forward, go back, out to the side, and have a thigh swivel. Double bend in his knees. We have a ball hinge in his ankle, forward facing pin for rocker ankle, and finally a toe hinge. So overall, Batman will have your standard multiverse articulation, and it works perfectly here for the Dark Knight. So with everything said and done, let's get the Batman and Robin Batman posed for my final thoughts. So here we have the DC Multiverse Batman from Batman and Robin pose for my final thoughts, and overall McFarlane has done a really good job here on Batman. I'll be 100% honest, this is not my favorite representation of Batman, but I'll concede the point that McFarlane has actually done a really good job with this figure. The sculpt work on Batman is done really nicely, and they were able to capture the shape of the cowl perfectly here. Add to it all the detailing that went into the bodysuit is captured perfectly here, from the bat insignia all the way to the bat nipples. One issue that I do have with this Batman figure is the different finishes that we see in the figure. Some areas are done in glossy plastic, some of them are done in matte finishes, and I would have loved to see a little more consistency here. Another minor gripe I have with the figure is that he's done in black plastic, which isn't quite accurate to what we saw in the movie. In the movie, Batman kind of had a bluish hue to him, and even though it looked black, there were still some shades of blue in the costume. We don't see that with this figure because it's just done in black plastic, and I think a darker blue would have been too jarring with this particular figure. But overall, it still looks really good, and I have to admit that he does have my favorite cape from any Batman figure or even any McFarlane figure. Moving forward, I would love to see McFarlane start implementing this kind of rubber capes on other characters because it is very pliable and isn't too heavy, so it doesn't make the figure back heavy. Begrudgingly, I have to admit that this is a really good Batman by McFarlane, and if you are looking for him, he is starting to hit stores at the time I'm making this video. At the time I'm making this video, Batman will be available at stores like Walmart, Target, and Amazon, so if you can find him, definitely pick him up. So with that being said, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and check out all my other DC Multiverse videos. If you're in a position to support the Dragon Den, definitely check out my Patreon where I do have some exclusive new content. Check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, videos, recent pickups, latest prints, and as always, ring that bell so you never miss another video. And until next time, my fellow Dragonites coming from the Dragon Den, I'm KingofDragons 5000 reminding you to redesign, rebuild, and reclaim. I'll see you next time.